In 2015, the government of Uganda launched its first national identification system, the Ndagamuntu. The ID was a significant milestone in the country's efforts to formalize its identification. 10 years later, as the validity of most IDs is set to expire in 2025, the government seeks to renew them. As Uganda approaches the renewal of its national ID, the way forward is clear: a people-centered, inclusive second-generation ID system.
When it came to people who could not trace accurate information about their births, when were they born, and they could not give accurate information about their history as required by the registration form, at even just the entry of capturing data, there were already errors there that you would find. For example, in the work that we have done, you would find that certain older persons would explain that I was born around, this period of time when this was happening in this country. And the people who are even doing the exercise were equally young people. Some of them did not have sufficient understanding of the kind of, historical context that some of these older persons were painting.
Emyaka nteebereza nga bwe nkugambye taata yanzaala nga wagenda mu ntalo z'okubiri.
Amannya gange Nzolo Tone nga ndi BHT mu Kitimbwa sub-county. Twesanze nga service eno mu kutandika abantu oba bakifuna bubi. Abantu balowooza nti nno endagamuntu erimu ebyobufuzi. Mu mbeera eyo abantu abamu tebajjumbira. Naye mu mbeera endala nti abatono abajjumbira abo aba basobola okwetaba mu nteekateeka eyo beesanga ng'ate oluusi bye balina okuwaayo bye babasaba oluusi tebikwatagana n'ebyo bo bye baawaayo. Kati ne weesanga nga oluusi ekifaananyi kikomyewo naye nga ebiriko data aliko ate si wannannyini kifaananyi. Kati mu ngeri y'okutereeza jangu genda komawo ne balaba nga abantu baffe bakoowa. Era abamu naddala kati ku myaka ng'emikulukulu bagwamu amaanyi olw'ekyo.
Some of the places do not have NERA offices open yet. In Uganda, NERA is present in 117 districts, and yet we are now 146 districts. So the absence of those NERA offices poses a big challenge to accessibility. So the population is not able to easily access the service because of the absence of that office. It is a real challenge.
The process has been constrained, as I have said, by two fundamental things, two fundamental ones. Staffing. Secondly, obsolete technology. If you see the presentations of NERA for the last 5 years, and even the Auditor General's report, he highlights those two areas. If you start from 2019-2020 report, 2020-2021, he highlights understaffing, highlights obsolete technology. NERA's budget remains the same. Government issues a moratorium, don't recruit.
Some of these women also lied. They did not give the rightful dates of birth to those ones who were taking that process. At the end of the day, those names did not come back and they were not beneficiaries. Then secondly, because these women thought that when the man marries me, everything belongs to the man. That's why she was supporting the man to get the national ID, because at the end of the day, when the school, when it's what, everything, items, receiving items, relief items, because they will also receive relief items, they would always ask for the head of families as national ID.
For a child to be registered has to be notified first. A child to be registered, at least one of the parents, if they are alive, must have a national ID or a NIN number. So that alone, somehow, somewhere, affects the registration of children. When you look at the registration of adults, we have a recommendation which we use from local councils to GISO and DISO. And at least one of the parents for a person to be identified as a Ugandan must be Ugandan, right? And one of the requirements at least to provide a national ID for either the parent, if they are deceased, a guardian. So that process of getting a recommendation from LC1, then GISO, then DISO, then parent ID, somehow, somewhere, it affects the entire process of identifying and registering Ugandans.
Well, given the already identified challenges and limitations around the system, I think we can work along the lines of we have this problem and then we solve it by doing this. So the system as it is, of course, was benchmarked from other systems around the world. That didn't mean that those systems in those other countries did not have challenges. But you have to realize that as Uganda, we are also a society that has its unique factors because of our social setting, because of our people, the nature of our people. We are not entirely the same like any other country. And of course, given the limitations we face as a society, when you import and have a system say, let everyone register, if you look at that registration form, even for a person who is learned, it is a technical one. So from the point of capturing the data, you need something that is simple, that if you give it to people collecting data, they can also easily be able to explain it through to the people they are picking data from, or the people giving them the data.
Abantu baffe abamu yeetaaga kumala kumunnyonnyola n'ategeerera ddala. Kati programu eno bwe yali nga eri timely nti twagenda okwesanga nga ebiseera biweddeyo naye ng'ate abantu baffe tebaweddeeyo. So kati n'okufuna abantu abakakkamu, kuba ku mulundi guli wali twafuna abantu baffe batuwa amawulire nti nno baasangangayo abakola ku kamera ng'oluusi ky'omugamba ate si kyawandiika. Ensonga eyo naye yabakosa nnyo n'okutuusa essaawa leero nti abamu tebalina ndagamuntu olw'okubanga nti ye bye yali awaayo tebyakwatagana n'ebiri ku gundi ye ne kimulemesa, era abamu endagamuntu baazizira zikyali eyo olw'okuba nti nno byali tebikwatagana.
The NIRA needs to be supported. NIRA, their budget needs to be increased. Their budget, when you look at it, the budget that they have right now vis-a-vis what they need to bring in the new technology, but also besides that to improve on the human resource by recruiting more, they need a lot of money, close to 700 billion. So it is only very important for government to realize that it is the high time for them to prioritize the actions of NIRA, prioritize the budget of NIRA, provide them with more resources so that they're able to go down to the ground and do what they ought to do. And that will help us to sort the mess or sort the problems or sort the challenges that we have.
The operation is going to be at parish level, meaning that the other gap of long distance will be solved. We shall have well-trained manpower. We're going to recruit and have them well-trained to avoid errors. We're going to engage all stakeholders, relevant bodies. Those are the main stakeholders we use at the district level, which involves CAL, RDC, who is the chairman of that committee. Then we have DHO, then we have political wing, LC5 chairman. When you bring LC5, you are bringing all the local councils, chairman L3, LC2, LC1, whereby LC1 are very important in identification.
Have we made changes from the lessons learned? Yes. One fundamental change is that you will not have to go back exactly to the place where you registered if you want to make changes, or if there was some wrong with your picture or something. That we are having a more centralized and distributed approach rather than the other decentralized, whereby you were limited only. You had to go back to the exact district where you took the picture and all that. By all means, every effort has been made to address the challenges of the current technology.
I encourage, first of all parents to get national ID, because we need them for various activities. Not only the short notes. So then when they get children, it's a requirement of the NIN number to be on her birth, on her short notes, and even the real birth certificate. So I'm encouraging them. Also I'm encouraging, if possible, this function to spread to health center tools, because now it's health center theories. They have the computers. Tools don't have computers. So if possible, that certificate spread to tools, so that subs are near the people.